to publishers to make content available to the general public. While specific use of the term may vary among countries, it is usually applied to text, images, or other audio-visual content on any traditional medium, including paper. The word publication means the act of publishing, and also refers to any printed copies. Legal definition and copyright. Publication is a technical term in legal contexts and especially important in copyright legislation. An author of a work generally is the initial owner of the copyright on the work. One of the copyrights granted to the author of a work is the exclusive right to publish the work. In the United States, publication is defined as the distribution of copies or phonorecords of a work to the public by sale or other transfer of ownership, or by rental, lease, or lending. The offering to distribute copies or phonorecords to a group of people for purposes of further distribution, public performance, or public display constitutes publication. A public performance or display of a work does not of itself constitute publication. To perform or display a work publicly means to perform or display it at a place open to the public or at any place where a substantial number of people outside of a normal circle of a family and its social acquaintances is gathered, or to transmit or otherwise communicate a performance or display of the work to a place specified by clause or to the public, by means of any device or process. Whether the members of the public capable of receiving the performance or display receive it in the same place or in separate places and at the same time or at different times. 17 U.S.C. 101. The U.S. Copyright Office provides further guidance in Circular 40, which states, when the work is reproduced in multiple copies, such as in reproductions of a painting or castings of a statue, the work is published when the reproductions are publicly distributed or offered to a group for further distribution or public display. Generally, the right to publish a work is an exclusive right of copyright owner, and violating this right is a copyright infringement, and the copyright owner can demand that e.g., copies distributed against his will be confiscated and destroyed. Exceptions and limitations are written into copyright law, however. For example, the exclusive rights of the copyright owner eventually expire, and even when in force, they don't extend to publications covered by fair use or certain types of uses by libraries and educational institutions. The definition of publication, as distribution of copies to the general public with the consent of the author, is also supported by the Berne Convention, which makes mention of copies, in Article 3, where published works are defined. In the Universal Copyright Convention, publication is defined in Article 6 as the reproduction in tangible form and the general distribution to the public of copies of a work from which it can be read or otherwise visually perceived. Many countries around the world follow this definition, although some make some exceptions for particular kinds of works. In Germany, 6 of the Urheberrechtsgesetz additionally considers works of the visual arts published if they have been made permanently accessible by the general public. Australia and the UK do not have this exception and generally require the distribution of copies necessary for publication. In the case of sculptures, the copies must be even three-dimensional. Biological classification. In biological classification, the publication of the description of a taxon has to comply with some rules. The definition of the publication is defined in nomenclature codes. Traditionally there were the following rules. The publication must be generally available. The date of publication is the date the published material became generally available. Electronic publication with some restrictions is permitted for publication of scientific names of fungi since the 1st of January 2013. Unpublished works. A work that has not undergone publication, and thus is not generally available to the public, or for citation in scholarly or legal contexts, is called an unpublished work. In some cases unpublished works are widely cited, or circulated via informal means. An author who has not yet published a work may also be referred to as being unpublished.